Major setback for former President Trump in court. The Department of Justice getting the go-ahead from an appeals court to use the documents seized from Mar-a-Lago in its criminal probe without having to submit them to a special master. Meanwhile, New York Attorney General suing former President Trump, his 3 oldest children, and his business, claiming Trump lied about his net worth, inflating it by billions of dollars in order to cheat lenders.
New York Attorney General Letitia James just filed judgments in Westchester County and Manhattan, and what she's targeting is absolutely devastating for Trump. Court monitor Barbara Jones flagging Trump properties. NY fraud judgment still looming over Trump. $454 million plus interest accruing at $112,000 per day. And James making clear she's ready to seize assets if Trump can't pay. Already filed judgments creating legal pathway to take his properties. Already identified which buildings she's going after. And Mar-a-Lago is on that list. Trump's crown jewel, his Florida estate, his social club, where he lives, where he conducts business. And James saying she can seize it, can take portions of it, can force sale to cover fraud judgment. Legal walls are closing in. Trump's assets suddenly at risk, and Mar-a-Lago could be first to fall. But real quick, before we get into this, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Patrick Smith Show to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, please subscribe, because you might think you are but aren't. Your subscription actually matters here. Alright, let's get into why Mar-a-Lago is flagged and at risk, because this fraud judgment is existential threat to Trump's empire. Judge Arthur Engoron ruled in February 2024 that Trump committed massive fraud for years. Inflated his net worth by billions of dollars. Hugely overvalued assets on financial statements to get better loan terms. And court found specific examples. Trump Tower penthouse. Trump claimed 30,000 square feet. Actually 11,000. Tripled the size. Mar-a-Lago valued at $426 million to $612 million on Trump's statements. Palm Beach County assessor said $18 million to $27 million. Trump inflated value by potentially 10 times or more. Share this video with everyone you know, because here's how Trump committed fraud with Mar-a-Lago specifically. He valued it as if it were private residence that could be sold and developed. But Mar-a-Lago legally can't be used that way. Trump signed agreement in 1993 when he converted it to social club. Deed restricts it, can only be used as club, not residential development. That restriction massively reduces value. But Trump ignored it on financial statements. Claimed value based on residential use he's legally prohibited from doing. That's fraud. That's lying to banks and insurers about what property is worth. Think about what that means. Trump took property worth maybe $78 million as restricted social club, claimed it was worth over $500 million as if restrictions didn't exist, used those inflated numbers to get loans, to get insurance, to make deals. Banks and insurers relied on statements Trump knew were false, and judge found him liable, ordered him to pay $354 million plus interest. Total judgment over $450 million and growing every single day. And interest is killing Trump, adding $112,000 per day. That's almost $4 million per month just in interest. So even if Trump posted $175 million bond in April 2024 to stop immediate seizure while appealing, total debt keeps growing. By now, judgment could be approaching $500 million with accumulated interest. And if Trump loses appeal, he owes everything. Full amount, all at once. Make sure you're subscribed to Patrick Smith Show, because James made clear what happens if Trump doesn't pay. She told ABC News, quote, "If he does not have funds to pay off judgment, then we will seek judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask judge to seize his assets," unquote. She specifically mentioned 40 Wall Street, said she looks at it every single day. That's Attorney General of New York saying she's ready to take Trump's buildings, ready to force sales, ready to collect what he owes. James already took steps to position herself to seize assets. She filed judgments in Westchester County targeting Seven Springs Estate, filed in Manhattan for properties there, and she can go beyond New York. Uniform Enforcement of Foreign Judgments Act requires states to give full faith and credit to judgments from other states. Almost entire country follows this. So James can pursue Trump assets in Florida, can go after Mar-a-Lago, can force collection outside New York. Think about what that means for Mar-a-Lago specifically. Property sits on 17 acres in Palm Beach, converted to private club with spa, restaurant, golf course. Trump lives there in private quarters, also uses it for business, hosts events, collects membership fees. That dual use creates vulnerability because Florida has homestead law. Florida Constitution protects unlimited value in residential home from judgment creditors. Can't force sale of where you live. But Mar-a-Lago isn't just residence, it's business, it's club, it generates revenue. Legal experts say homestead protection probably doesn't apply to all of Mar-a-Lago. Maybe protects private quarters where Trump actually lives, but not business portions, not club facilities, not commercial operations. James could seize business side, could force sale of club membership interests, could take revenue streams, could effectively destroy Mar-a-Lago as functioning business even if Trump gets to keep bedroom. Trump's own former press secretary Stephanie Grisham said losing Mar-a-Lago would devastate him. She told CNN that Mar-a-Lago, Bedminster, and Trump Tower are his babies, that any properties with golf courses would absolutely devastate him, that it will be interesting to see what James goes for. That's person who worked for Trump saying he cares more about these properties than anything, that losing them would destroy him emotionally, not just financially, emotionally. Think about what Mar-a-Lago represents to Trump. He bought it in 1985 for $7 million, renovated it, turned it into social club, made it his primary residence, called it Winter White House during first presidency, uses it now as second-term president, conducts government business there, meets with foreign leaders, shows it off to everyone. It's symbol of his wealth, his status, his success. Losing it would be ultimate humiliation, public proof that his empire is collapsing. That fraud finally caught up with him. And seizure process wouldn't be quick or clean. James would direct New York City sheriff or marshal to issue execution orders. They'd go to Trump's banks, drain accounts minus $3,000 protected by law, seize LLC membership interests, take shares of stock, grab financial investments, then move to physical properties. Start with 40 Wall Street in Manhattan, Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, then expand to other states, Mar-a-Lago in Florida, golf courses across country, one by one stripping away assets until judgment is paid. Make sure you're subscribed to Patrick Smith Show because Trump can't just file bankruptcy to avoid this. Fraud judgments aren't dischargeable in bankruptcy. Court found he committed fraud. That creates non-dischargeable debt. So even if Trump filed Chapter 11, he'd still owe New York, still have to pay. Bankruptcy wouldn't save Mar-a-Lago, wouldn't protect his properties, would just delay inevitable and make him look desperate, make him look broke. Share this with everyone because Trump's appeal is his only hope. He's arguing Engoron's verdict is wrong, that he didn't commit fraud, that his property valuations were reasonable, that banks weren't harmed because they got paid back. But legal experts say appeal faces long odds. Evidence of fraud was overwhelming. Documents showed clear inflation of values. Witnesses testified about false statements. Judges' findings were detailed, specific, backed by evidence. Appeals court unlikely to overturn all of that. Think about what happens if appeal fails. Trump would need to pay full judgment immediately. Over $450 million plus accumulated interest. Where does he get that money? He claimed during trial he had $400 million in cash. But then his lawyers said they couldn't secure bond because he didn't have enough liquid assets. Approached 30 bonding companies. All said no. Eventually got one to do $175 million. But that's not enough for full judgment. So if Trump loses appeal and has to pay everything, he's forced to liquidate assets, sell properties, and that's where James steps in. She doesn't wait for Trump to voluntarily sell. She seizes, forces sales, gets properties appraised, auctions them off, takes proceeds to cover judgment, and she starts with most valuable properties. 40 Wall Street, Trump Tower, Mar-a-Lago, the ones that would hurt Trump most, the ones that define his brand. And Mar-a-Lago specifically could fetch massive price at auction. Trump claims it's worth billion to billion and a half dollars. That's obviously inflated, but even at realistic value as restricted social club, property is worth way more than $78 million appraisal from years ago. Palm Beach real estate has exploded. Waterfront property on 17 acres, historic mansion, operating club with members paying $200,000 to join plus annual dues. Revenue-generating business. Could easily sell for several hundred million at auction. Think about what that means. James seizes Mar-a-Lago, appoints receiver to run it during sale process, kicks Trump out of private quarters, or lets him stay but under receiver's control, lists property for auction, buyers start circling, maybe Democrat billionaire buys it just to humiliate Trump, maybe foreign government buys it, maybe it gets demolished and redeveloped. Whatever happens, Trump loses it, loses his crown jewel, loses Winter White House. An entire world watches it happen, watches fraud catch up with him, watches his empire crumble. And seizure of Mar-a-Lago would trigger cascade, because Trump's brand is built on image of wealth, of success, of owning best properties. If James takes Mar-a-Lago, that image shatters. Other creditors see vulnerability, start filing their own claims, start demanding payment. Trump Organization facing $883 million judgment in E. Jean Carroll cases. Civil lawsuits piling up. Banks that loaned money based on Trump's inflated statements could sue for fraud. Insurance companies could void policies. Whole house of cards could collapse. This connects to Trump's other legal problems. Court monitor Barbara Jones is watching Trump Organization, filing reports on compliance, flagging irregularities. She already identified $50 million mystery loan that never existed. Chicago Unit Acquisition LLC loan. Trump claimed for years, turned out to be fake, never happened. Trump filed 9 federal disclosures listing it, but it didn't exist. That's potential tax fraud, criminal exposure, more investigations, more penalties, and pattern is clear. Trump inflated property values to get loans, deflated values to reduce taxes, used fake loans to manipulate financial statements, committed fraud repeatedly across decades. And now it's all catching up. Court monitor finding it, judges ruling on it, attorney general seizing assets for it, legal walls are closing in from every direction. Think about what happens in next few months. Trump's appeal in fraud case scheduled for hearing could get decision before election. If he loses, judgment becomes immediately collectible. James can start seizure process next day, and Trump's still president at that time. So imagine sitting president having properties seized by state attorney general, having Mar-a-Lago taken, having to move out of Winter White House, constitutional crisis, political disaster, personal humiliation, and Trump can't use presidential power to stop it. This is state civil judgment, not federal, not criminal. President has no pardon power, no executive authority, can't order Justice Department to intervene, can't invoke national security, can't claim executive privilege. He's private citizen debtor who owes money from fraud, and state has every right to collect, has every right to seize assets, has every right to take Mar-a-Lago. Share this video because Republicans won't save him either. They control Congress, but this isn't federal issue. They can't pass law stopping New York from enforcing state court judgment. They can't block James from seizing property. They can only complain, call it political persecution, claim it's weaponization of justice. But none of that stops seizure. None of that pays judgment. None of that saves Mar-a-Lago. Think about timing. If Trump loses appeal in next few months, seizure could happen during campaign, could happen right before election. Voters seeing Trump's properties being taken, seeing fraud judgment enforced, seeing him exposed as liar about his wealth. That destroys his image, destroys his campaign, shows he's not successful businessman. He's convicted fraudster who lied about everything. Bottom line is this. NY Attorney General Letitia James filed judgments positioning to seize Trump assets. $454 million fraud penalty plus $112,000 per day interest. James specifically targeting Mar-a-Lago. Trump's Florida estate valued at potentially $500 million but bought through fraud by inflating appraisals. Florida homestead law might not protect business portions of property. James can seize club operations, force sale, take proceeds. Trump's appeal facing long odds. If he loses, must pay immediately or face asset seizure. Mar-a-Lago could be auctioned off. Trump kicked out. Empire collapsing as legal walls close in. This story continues. Stay tuned.